This module that we entitled Managing Brands and Customers is about equipping one with the right skills for managing brands. And that entitles in the first place a good knowledge of consumers, and this means understanding their psychology, understanding their cultural background, the social influences that one has around them, and that makes one behave in a certain way in the marketplace and towards brands. Second, we are going to be providing the toolkit that one needs to manage brands strategically, because brands are very important strategic assets. Not least, we're going to be covering the topic, has anything changed in terms of branding in the last 10 years or so with the advent of the internet and social media? In order to be able to do brand management, we have to understand a number of things about consumers. And one of the very important things that we are going to understand through this course is consumer psychology. How does that impact the consumption of brands? And by understanding that, we'll be able to explain in class and discuss why, for instance, when people drink Pepsi versus Coke and they do not know what actual brand they're drinking, they prefer Pepsi to Coke, but when they actually see what label is on the drink, what brand is on the drink, they end up drinking Coca-Cola. And we are also going to be discussing why somebody willing to make, let's say, a book purchase is going to be referring directly to Amazon rather than any other seller of books. Also, why somebody willing to buy a tablet computer is going to think, first and foremost, about an iPad. We're also going to be discussing the context, the social context in which people are integrated and how that impacts their brand consumption. Some brands have got very strong brand communities of people who actually live the brand and would actually give their life for the brand, such as Harley Davidson. In other contexts, we have specific subcultures or communities of consumption. For instance, in the context of action sports, we can think of BMXers, we can think of surfboarders or snowboarders who have a very specific pattern of consumption and who are susceptible to the consumption of specific brands. A brand should be managed strategically by having an understanding of different topics that come underneath strategic brand management. One of those being brand building. And brand building, at the end of the day, it's about managing a brand, maintaining its image throughout time, and actually boosting its image throughout time. And this has to do very much with making consumers have in their minds the right associations with certain brands at the end of the day. Second, we are going to be discussing about brand leveraging. I discussed before that a brand is an asset that the company has, and then the company can endeavor to actually put this asset on new offerings, such as products and services coming in new categories. So we're going to try to understand, for instance, why a brand such as Virgin in the UK, which started off with record shops and with airlines, are now in financial products, in mobile products, in trains, in balloon flights, you name it. Meanwhile, other brands such as Calvin Klein, who are quite high-end fashion brands in the past, they managed to dilute their brand quite badly by just putting their brand on all the offerings out there. So we're going to be discussing why this difference in outcomes between Virgin and, for instance, Calvin Klein. These days, people end up spending so much time online. So the question is, should a brand manager do anything differently given the advent of the internet? People are so much on social media as well, so anything different about it? It's very important to understand that a manager should be understanding how and when a consumer or a customer is interacting with a brand online. And this doesn't just mean the moment when they make a purchase online or when they are exposed to an ad online, but it's also about when they look for a review online for a camera that they are willing to purchase. It's also about somebody buying a smartphone and then going on Twitter and tweeting about how cool the smartphone is. It's also about somebody being on Facebook and playing a game on Facebook which is sponsored by, say, Nike. So it's important to understand this holistic customer experience and these points of touch with the brands. But this is important not just online, but also offline. So at the end of the day, a good brand manager should be managing the brand holistically, both online and offline, in an integrated fashion, by understanding these consumer touch points with the brand.